How could we write an inequality for this situation? So we had something like, hang on. Spoke with you again. So we had 150 and 10, like this. Then what? Plus 200. Plus what? Less than? I just can't hear you. Less than what? 1,200. I definitely see a lot of really good pieces there. A lot of really good pieces here. It's 150 pounds per person, though. So how many people are we taking? We don't know. X. So what are we going to put an X with? The 150, right? So 150X. And then each person also needs 10 pounds of gear, right? So 10X. And then the boat also needs 200 pounds of gear. So where are we putting that? Does the 200 need the X?
Oh, wait, no.
Because it's just 200 pounds in the boat. That's oars and the engine. So this would be the human themselves. This would be their tackling or fishing rod and stuff. This is the engine. And I love this inequality here. This needs to be less than the 1,200, because if this side was more than 1,200, what happens to my boat? It sinks. That's bad. This is a fishing trip, not a swimming trip, so we need the boat to stay on top of the water. Okay? So I am 100% great with that inequality. We worked great on that. Now solve it. Now that we have that inequality, figure out how many people they can take on that boat. Check out that boat. See what they can do. Say what they can do. Okay? So take a few minutes. Solve this inequality. Now that we're agreed on inequality, solve it. The writing of the inequality is the hardest part. 100%. This is still A. We wrote our inequality, and now we are going to solve it, and then we're going to graph it on the number line. So we're still in A. We just did the first half of A together for the first part. If you get all the way to a solution, then you can look at B. right, what do we think? What are we going to do to solve this? I'm not going to subtract 10. I see where the instinct is on that. Combine like terms. What like terms do we have here? The x's. I've got 150x and the 10x. We're not crossing the equal sign though, so I'm not going to subtract it. What do we have? Mm-hmm. So what do we get? 160. Yeah, 160. I'm going to actually give us a little bit more space right here so that I can, whoopsies. There we go. I'm going to write down here. So we're going to have 160x plus 200 is less than 1200. Then what can I do to try and figure out what x is? Subtract the 200 from both sides. We're crossing now. So now we're solving. So we started with simplifying, and now we're going to solve. So I have 160x is less than 1,000. What do we do to figure out what x is? Divide both sides by 160. Not going to be x squared. I had 150 apple pies plus 10 apple pies. They're the same. They didn't change. If I was multiplying is when we would get an x squared. We're trying to make it harder than we need to. So we're going to divide by 160. What do we get? X is less than 6.25. Algebraically, that is a perfect answer. How many people can they bring? 6. Thank you for not saying 6.25. You start throwing arms in a boat, your population's gonna change. Because 0.25 of a person, that means you took an arm and put it in the boat. Do not throw random limbs. If we are talking living creatures, we go to the nearest whole unit. Do not toss limbs or parts of an animal or anything like that. We talking elephants. Do not tell me you're tossing a trunk into your group. It's going to mess with your data. All right, so they could take up to about 6 people. So if we were to put that on a number line, that's what this little arrow line is here, because it did say to graph it. We could say anything from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You don't have to fill in the whole number line. I could bring anything from 0 to 6. Why don't I go beyond 0? Why don't I put an arrow on the one end? Because I can't bring negative people. Ghosts don't count. And then we're into corpses, and corpses still have weight. Like, then it gets a whole thing. Like, it's a whole thing. Don't tell me it's negative people. Don't tell me it's part of a person. We're not tossing limbs, okay? So I can take up to 6 people. So then look at part B. Now that we have that answer, look at part B. We've got several groups. Which of these groups can go? Look through it. You do it. Look at B. Tell me which groups can go. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can absolutely do it that way. So which groups can go? 1 and 2. Group 1 has 4 people. So group 1 is good. Group 2 has 5 people. Group 2 is also good. Group 3 has 8 people. If we put 8 people in that boat, sucker's gonna sink. So we gotta have small groups in order to go on this fish company, or they're gonna have to get 2 boats. Okay, so the maximum number of people each boat can carry is 6 people. You cannot have 0.25 of a person. 0.25 of a person is about a leg or an arm and a half. Then we get into whole debates about that. Do not tell me that an amputee is a part of a person. They still count as a whole human. Just because that's the next debate. Just saying. Okay? So just saying, you get really tired of me talking about don't throw limbs into groups when we get into the next chapter, because we'll deal with populations and data and statistics. Don't tell me it's a part of a person. Okay, so this is the last homework of the chapter. You can now do all of the homeworks. It's all about writing and solving inequalities. We're going to continue to work with inequalities. The rest of everything in this chapter is inequalities. So if you're unsure on what to do on homework 4, that's okay. We're going to work more with them tomorrow, and then on Monday, and then on Tuesday, and then we're going to start reviewing, because our chapter test is next Friday. Not tomorrow Friday, next Friday. That is the wrong date, because that is from last year's November 4th. It is September the 22nd. That is not a pen. That is a highlighter. That's making it worse. So September 22nd, which is next Friday. Okay, so next week I'll get you the review packet. Next week we'll go through stuff as needed, all that jazz. But next week is our chapter test. So we're really close to the end of Unit 2. Just as a forewarning, before we get there and you see all the Unit 8 stuff pop in, it's a very long chapter. Therefore, it has like 8 homework assignments. So Unit 1 had 4, Unit 2 had 4, Unit 8 has 8. Like, it's a lot. But it lasts like almost 2 months. Okay? So when I start pulling stuff in for Unit 8, do not panic with the number of homework assignments you get notified come in. Okay? Okay. Just so we're aware. All right? But that's it for today. You get the rest of the time to work on Unit 2 Homework 4 or Unit 2 Homework 3. Or Unit 2 Homework 2, or, you catch the drill. Start working back through stuff if we're missing it. It's easy peasy points. By the end of the semester, the number of homeworks we have, just so that we're aware, each homework assignment's got to be about 1 percentage point on your final grade. Just based on what we had last year, it kind of averages out to be about 1 percentage point per assignment. So if we don't do any of the 20 assignments, that puts us at best a C. Okay? I'm a firm believer in open, honest communication. That's why I share that with you now, so that in December we're not going, what do I do? Okay? Okay.